Go.
Hello, and welcome to another week of the Xbox North podcast, episode 28. This week we are talking about... Yeah, definitely, right? This week we're talking about Master Chief because he's back. Okay, and we're also going to be talking about other stuff like NFTs from Ubisoft, actually, and PlayStation giving us a Game Pass competitor, possibly. And we're going to talk about Hellblade because we just watched an unreal, mind-blowingly incredible gameplay.
It's looking so good.
Yeah, and it's gameplay, which is nice. It's just it's not even a trailer. Here's just a small chunk of gameplay, and man, it delivered. But we will get into that shortly. But of course, I'm Joshua James. I'm with Dan Robertson. Dan, how you doing?
Not too bad. Been doing pretty good. We're recording a little late this week because I was driving around yesterday and visiting some people, so I ended up getting home a little too late.
That was also my fault too. I wasn't feeling well yesterday, and
it happens.
It was just one of those days, so we had to delay it, and that's the reason why Andrew's not here, so it's both our faults, but in the end, we always have a better show without him, right, Andrew? So, love you, buddy.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, no, I've been, most of the week, been playing a few little games, just mostly Halo multiplayer, trying to catch up on that and get my my stats up. And then yesterday, that Tasty campaign released. And
yeah, well, it's good we delayed, right? So you can tell us. We can kind of get right into
it. Otherwise, I tried playing at noon, at 1 o'clock, because that's when it released in our time. Mm-hmm. And it was just you could not get into the servers. There was just so many people joining all at once. I tried joining once, couldn't get in. Really, it just kind of sat there at the loading screen for a good 5 minutes or so, and then I exited everything. So I was like, okay, maybe it's not working quite properly or something. Maybe it's something on my end. And so I restarted it again. I ended up sitting there for a good 5 minutes or whatever. It actually counted down to 1 minute from 5 minutes, and then it just stayed at 1 minute for another 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna shut this down.
This is not
I'll come back later.
I'm supposed to have gigabit speeds,
right?
Mind you, how's the battle going with Bell right now to get your?
We're still working
Wi-Fi
on it. I got my new router here, so I gotta swap that out and then see how the Wi-Fi is doing and see if it's doing any better.
It's going to be doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. It's I wonder if the same product will do something different.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't say my router wasn't working. I said I want your better tech.
Right. Well, I told him I was having a problem with my Wi-Fi, and I took my phone just about 25 feet away from my modem, and on my phone I was getting 3 megabits per second. And I've done some research online and everything too, and Bell is a little more notorious for having bad Wi-Fi too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay, so I just want this new product. It should be fixing some of my problems and everything. No. So we got to make sure there's an actual problem first. All right, whatever. I'll go through all the steps and do it with them. I'm yeah, I've never seen a speed test fail so many times, just 20 feet from a router.
So yeah, no, they gotta give you the new one. It's so much better.
Yeah,
it's outrageous.
It's gonna be good. Yeah,
and maybe even adding a pod into your house might be a good idea. Just it's $5 extra, but I don't know. It works. Yeah. It does wonders up in my room, so which is good. So especially
I'm definitely gonna check it out.
Especially if you're ever gonna get one of the Oculus Quest, or I guess the Meta Quest headset, because streaming to your headset from your PC with no wires. Carly has been playing Beat Saber now through her PC, and think about Beat Saber is a game you need no latency whatsoever, and she doesn't have anything, no problems whatsoever. It's 1-to-1. So it's impressive. So man, the fact that they can beam an image to your headset from your PC 2 floors down, that's so good. That's amazing. she's checking out the Horizon like social network thing right now. Nice. On there. They just posted it. Like they just opened it up to everyone. Okay. You have to be like 18 plus. It's in Canada, the United States. But I'm glad there's like an age requirement to it, right? Yeah. Because going through VR chat is
a little rough.
is a rough place out here.
Yeah, I've been there a few times before. I'll definitely have to check out Horizon and stuff. But yeah, that's the one thing that I wanna get for my headset is like have something wireless like the Quest 2 and be able to hook that up and everything. Yeah. That'd be perfect.
Yeah, they're going to be coming out with the Quest 3 eventually. They'll have to come out with their product that is just solely Meta branded from like the release of it instead of it getting rebranded halfway through its life cycle. Yeah, but it's very curious where that's going.
Yeah, the Oculus 3 is definitely going to be like designed for their new universe and everything. So.
Oh yeah.
It'll be interesting.
How's everything else going?
Hey, doing good. Yeah, we got to visit some people. We were off on our road trip yesterday and everything, so it was nice to visit some family and some friends in the faraway places where we used to live.
Yeah, you're just far enough from me. You're just just a little close to me. So.
Yeah. Me and the wife were talking about it though. We're gonna plan out some time to get down to Toronto and everything and see you guys.
Yeah. No, we should all get together like Andrew, me, you, and the wife and just go to a restaurant or something.
Absolutely.
There's a great barbecue, Korean barbecue place across the street. So, God, that place is... It's like every time me and Carly go out to dinner, we're like, okay, where do we want to go? Let's try someplace new. He's like, or we could just like go to the Korean barbecue place. Because it's like, because it's good like every time. So
yeah, that's like the one pizza place in town that we go to, and it's just like they make the best panzerottis and everything, and it's just like we could do this or we could do that, or you just get some panzerottis.
Yeah, we'll get some panzerottis.
Little pizza for the kids. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, that's good. Oh, how about you though?
Oh, well, yeah, same thing here. Playing a lot of Halo multiplayer. God. Like the more you play that multiplayer, just like the old Halo, the more little things you learn. Like I'm really loving the repulsor, I think, where it shoots the shockwave. Just like if you're on any map and there is a cliff on the other end, oh yeah, they're fucked, man. It's so good. So and figuring out all the like little things you can repulse. Have you watched the latest episode of Mythbusters Volume 3?
Oh, no, I haven't seen Volume 3 just yet.
So they are like, he's like, I wonder if we can daisy chain people like grapple hooking to each other.
Yeah.
So they do that one trick with the shock grenade and throw it under the brute chopper. And the brute chopper just like flies out for some reason. And then the first guy like hooks onto it and starts flying, and then the next guy like hooks onto his back, and then the next guy hooks onto his back, and he hooks onto his back, and they just all start flying across the map. It's so good. And
that's amazing.
I guess that's where like people can excuse Halo's shortcomings right now is because the gameplay is so good. They got that like physics-based engine going on with their split space engine, which I still like. I was reading an article. It's still an iteration on their like old 2000 original Halo engine, and I'm like, man, for the next one, I don't know, switch to Unreal 5 or something because after seeing Hellblade right there, that engine can pump out some graphics. Holy cow!
That's gonna be ridiculous. Sure. Or if they can find a way to create their own new engine, keep the physics base that they've done so well, or at least like the concept of it and everything. Because man, I watching all those Mythbusters and everything, like it's just ridiculous that like you can even like switch your weapon and have it catch bullets as it's dropping in front of you, like basically using it as a shield.
Yeah,
it's like If you can do that, like
reacts with each other and stuff.
Yeah, like I've always loved, like, especially watching the playbacks and everything, watching somebody just get like murdered by a cone from halfway across the map.
Oh yeah, man. Remember
It was so fun to watch.
We played that map Guardian, and we forged it so the middle area had that all the fusion coils like set up around it, and it would spawn and you could just shoot it with one shot, and the explosion was so big it would actually like lag the whole match up for a second. Like the frames would just drop to like nothing. So every time it went off, everyone on the map was just like, oh, someone shot the middle of the map, because the game would like
slow down like crazy. Yeah.
Man, I would love to see things come back. There's a ton of things I want to see come back. Like, there's not enough aerial vehicles. Like, give me the aerial vehicle from Halo 3. I forget the name of it, but it had two. You could like run flags with it. There was just the person who could fly it, and then you could put two people on the side. Or there was the one in Halo Reach that had the turret gun on the side, and you could just like fly that
or whatever.
Yeah. Oh no, not the Pelican. It was called something else. Like the Pelican was too big for multiplayer, but
I forget exactly what it was.
Yeah, I forget the name of it.
Like a mini Pelican.
Yeah, it was like a mini, like a warthog almost. It's like a flying warthog almost. From the Halo Reach one. The Halo Reach one was that, because it had the turret gun. I remember in Halo 3, the single player, the flying vehicle, it had a gun on the front that you could shoot, but I think in multiplayer they took that away completely, if memory serves me right. But I just want more. I would love to see the elephant. Remember the elephant in Halo 3 on the desert level? It was just that moving base.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
That was amazing.
So, but
there's so much fun just deploying people out of there, and I want to see some bigger maps, some other vehicles and everything, and it'll be interesting. I'm hoping they come out with more stuff and some assets that are similar to it.
I feel like it's the Xbox One that is hurting the game's limitation. Like, they say they have like a UI limitation. I'm like, is that because their engine, or is it because of the lack of like RAM or something on the Xbox One that is like hurting it? I'm curious if they'll almost go the Destiny route. Remember, like Destiny 1, it came out on Xbox 360 and Xbox One,
and they just started retiring it as they were bringing out expansions and everything.
Yeah, the first expansion, they're just like, this is not going to be on Xbox 360, so we're just going to focus on the one in the PlayStation 4 version going forward. So I really hope they're just like, fuck that version, at least for whatever they decide to do with, I don't know, with these expansions. Overall, the game has been, from what I've played of the single player yesterday. So we'll talk. You know what? Let's get right into our conversation about Halo Infinite campaign. And I know Andrew will talk a bit about it next week, but we'll kind of, by the time we get to next week's episode, we probably would have both finished the game by then. So we'll kind of give our final thoughts on it. But our initial thoughts right now, Dan, like, what do you think from the single player? We've already talked kind of multiplayer, but from the single player aspect of the game.
Man, I'm addicted to the single player already. Like, I'm just enjoying going through each and every piece. Like the opening scene. Like, for those who can see our podcast currently in the background and everything, there's our video playing of it. And it's phenomenal. The first couple of missions are awesome and just mood setting and everything for it. Mm-hmm. And then breaking out into that big open world and seeing everything for the first time and taking over that first base was just awesome.
Yeah, I like the kind of, and it's funny, a lot of people gave the first mission some criticism, but I kind of like the pacing of it, where you kind of slowly got introduced to the antagonist of the game. And like by the end of the first, like by the time you get to the open world, there's that one cutscene where he's like, aren't you mad the Master Chief's back? He's like, no, I'm I'm like jazzed. This guy's coming for me. I'm ready. I'm so like looking forward to fight someone. They are truly.
I've been waiting to fight him.
Yeah, they are truly the Klingons of the Halo universe, and they even have like their shit is so Klingon. It's kind of crazy, right? Like thinking about it, like there's symbols on the walls. It's
now that you put that picture in my head, that's all I can picture. It's exactly that. It's
they're the Klingons of Halo, so they're badass. It's really cool so far. But I enjoyed the
warrior race,
yeah, and I enjoyed the introduction of him, which everyone who's played it, you find this out right from the beginning, but Atriox is dead, and I'm kind of surprised Atriox is even in the game at all, because I thought he was stuck on the Ark, which is outside of our not solar system, but our galaxy. It's like in dark space there. Yeah. Because at the end of Halo Wars, they were still all trapped on the Ark, and Atriox was there. So I'm surprised he was in the game, but I guess he got off somehow. Honestly, like my theory was, like thinking about it was, the antagonist was searching for something. I thought the game would end with Atriox. Like he was searching for the portal to get to the Ark to get Atriox back. I thought that was like the plot of the game, to be honest. But no, like Atriox was right at the beginning. He fucking beat the shit out of Master Chief, which was a dope cutscene.
That was crazy and almost a little rough to watch. Like, watch a Master Chief get swung around like that. Dude, getting his ass beat.
Relentless. And he just, like, drops him out into space, and he's just like, I'm not even going to bother with you. Yeah. So, I don't believe he's dead, but, I haven't beaten the game yet. But what do you feel about the open world now that... I take it you've gotten to the open world sections and started kind of exploring around. So how do you feel about kind of going from the traditional Halo to now kind of this open world aspect to it?
There's I was thinking about this earlier, and there's an interesting balance to it because I've always liked the openness of Halo, and this is exactly what I was looking for. But it's almost like be careful what you wish for, because in some ways there's a lot of like traversing, because it's so big. There's a lot of traversing like back and forth, and it's almost a little slow paced just with the speed of the vehicles. Like, but I haven't unlocked the any of the flying vehicles yet either, so that'll speed things up quite a bit as well. So I mean,
flying vehicles.
Yeah, that's where it's like I've been like. So far, I haven't really felt like it's too long. Like, I felt like I just want to explore more places, because there's so many nooks and crannies and everything where I've stumbled upon, here's a tight little cave that you can go through, and you find like a hidden data pad or whatever, or
Spartan
special weapons and stuff. Yeah, like I went and I found a specialty skewer, or not skewer, the one where I was using a multiplayer, like a grenade launcher.
The light one that shoots where you can control the missile?
Yeah, the Scorch one or whatever.
Scorch, yeah. Isn't it like the Scorch Cannon or something like
Scorch
that?
Cannon? Yeah, I think it's Scorch Cannon. But I had there was a specialty version of that just hidden in a cave, and it wasn't like, because some of the missions you go through and you hunt down the specialty guy, and you'll get a specialty customized weapon.
Oh yeah, I've got a bunch of those.
And it was one of those specialty customized weapons, but it was like a one-off. And it was just like it was like a back burner Scorch Cannon or something it was called, but it looks different and everything. And I think there was a bigger explosion it was creating too. Nice. It was kind of hard to tell, but I just found it tucked away in this little cave off to the side of one of the mountains that was there. And I just totally 100% stumbled upon it, but it was just a door opened up. And when I went inside, there's a bunch of Scorch Cannons on the wall and the specialty one, and then a bunch of other high-powered weapons that were just all located there.
Yeah.
It's cool, just like
yeah. It almost like it's like you run into like little nooks and crannies that have like their own stories, because you'll come across also, pretty much every game does the audio log, but they do it, and it's interesting hearing kind of the greater part of the story. Like they were talking about the Harbinger for a bit there, and one of them, if you heard at the beginning, they're like, we made a deal with the Harbinger. I'm like, oh man, I want to see like who this is, but I'm so addicted to just like check marking the entire map. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna take this area. But one thing I've been personally enjoying out of the open world aspect of it is unlocking all of the Marines. So I like loading up the vehicle that can have 6 Marines in the back and you and one other guy in the front. And then I give them all rocket launchers. So they're all in there with rocket launchers to shoot the fucking shit out of everything. So I'm just like,
it's just like 5 rockets launching off of you. It's like it. Yeah. I didn't think I'd like the Razorback as much as I do, and like Andrew was explaining to me and everything a little bit. He's like, it's just nice having that many people and that many weapons firing all at once. Like half the time, I'm running around with like, I got a couple of like snipers on the back who are just like pinpoint shooting people. I got a couple of rocket launchers, like a skewer guy, and I got
so I like this like aspect of the AI is like good enough to let's load up the truck of boys and like go to a place and like start messing stuff up. I noticed one thing, they don't come into buildings with you, or at least they don't come into like caves and stuff. So I'm like storming this one cave and they all just stayed outside. I'm like, thanks guys. Like,
like what the hell?
Yeah.
I guess like I could see it being a problem with getting too close quarters and like they're running in and you just end up murdering all your guys.
Yeah.
And that would be frustrating.
I've seen some of them. I took a video where this one guy, and I'm like, I bet you didn't think I was looking, but he like jumps off like a tower and just like lands and just starts walking. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
But the thing that's kind of bothering me though is it doesn't look like we are going to get, and this is what I've heard in reviews too, variety in environments compared to, let's say, even some of the multiplayer levels. Like there's that desert level in multiplayer. I'm like, where's my desert like island section? Give me some like just like diversities, especially like when you have a system where it's this like shattered lands and like things are floating up everywhere. You could be like, the Arctic area, like
I think they're gonna end up doing that.
Yeah,
because I was reading too that like this map is like a third or a quarter of the size that they actually wanted it to be. They wanted it to be like Breath of the Wild size, like way bigger. And so I think we're just going to see that introduced as DLC and everything, especially because right now they've got it sitting at a nice, like, it's not too big of a game right now. Mm-hmm. Like the multiplayer is like 25 gigs, the single player is like 25 gigs, and then like combined you're only sitting at 50 gigs. But as they expand and have like more stories to tell and everything, I'm curious if they'll section that off as well, like they've done with the Master Chief Collection. Like it'll be like, you can download this expansion pack and play just that. Have like just that new expansion and the multiplayer installed instead of just adding on to the game constantly.
What I personally think will happen is I think the campaign will stay the way it is. This is our campaign with Master Chief. But we'll get multiplayer campaign where it's our Spartan and it's that map, but they'll do the Fortnite thing, I think, where it will be a co-op world that we could get 4 of our friends or whatever, and we can go do missions on this separate map, which is this map, but it's ever evolving. And this could be the section where they say, hey, sorry, Xbox One players, but this is this is not really something was capable on this. We gave you the campaign, we gave you the arena multiplayer, but this kind of more ambitious side of how we're going to grow this particular portion of the game will be different. But you never know. There could be a trailer playing right now on the Game Awards about the next year and future, so we'll see.
It'll be interesting. I'm curious, and I've been thinking about the like diversity. I ended up noticing in it too, because I was recently like our pilot ends up speaking in Spanish a few different times, so you can tell he's got like a certain background there. And then reading the audio logs and everything, there was one about like a Russian Spartan who was like talking to you and like has a very thick Russian accent. So it's cool just to see like the UNSC is really like the world kind of joined together to be like a country in a sense, because they had all these colonies out in the outer worlds and everything.
Once you start like once other races start coming in, like actual alien races, you don't start looking at yourself as, oh, I'm Russian or Canadian or United or American or anything like that. It's like, no, we're humans. Yeah, we're humanity. And you know what? That's how we should look at ourselves now. But, that's not how the world works, right?
Yeah. What can you do? It's an awesome game, though. Highly recommend it.
You know what? I think going open world is what I've always wanted out of a Halo game, and it shows that their gameplay really works in an open world setting. So that it's really cool. I know I'm not going to see this, but man, it's such a missed opportunity. They don't have a scarab part. How cool would it have been if there was a scarab like patrolling this open world? Like that would be dope.
Would be awesome.
Like you just see it like just like kind of like, have you ever played Zelda Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
So there's these dragons that fly around the open world, and it's awesome when you see it. It'd be so cool if you just saw in the distance like a scarab just like walking around, and you're like, you cannot go over there because you get fucked up. Like I would have loved to see. I feel like there's going to be a lot of missed opportunities like that where you have so many interesting, huge vehicles. Like there's that one scene in Halo 3 where the ship like comes from space, and it's that huge like frigate, and it just like lands right on top of you, and you're just like, holy crap, I've never seen something like that in a game before.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was so cool. But you know what? It's really great to see Halo's back, and the reviews are amazing. Like, have you seen some of the reviews it's getting right now?
Yeah, they're really good.
I think IGN gave it a 9. GameSpot as well gave it a 9. So a ton of people are just really praising the game's.
They did great. I love the more RPG aspect of it too, just like upgrading your stuff and like changing your abilities as you're going along, and just powering up just keeps you feeling more powerful. Like now I took Andrew's advice and upgraded the grappling hook first,
all the way,
just to be able to exactly. It's great.
It's funny when you're fighting that elite boss in the first like chunk of the game, and they give you the motion tracker. I didn't use that at all, and your AI is constantly like, use the motion tracker. I'm like, fuck that, I'm using the grapple hook. Like, I'm like, he showed up next to me, I'm like, grapple.
Like, grapple, shock him and everything while you're grappling him, and punch him in the head.
Who knew adding the ability to pick up a fusion coil and just toss it at something is like the best thing added to Halo?
Yeah, it just felt so good.
One?
Yeah, even better.
Yeah.
Just like they even show it in one of the trailers, but you like lift up one of the fuel coils that or fuel tanks or whatever they've got in the base there, and just grapple over a fusion coil and whip it at the friggin' tank and watch it explode. It just feels so good.
Oh yeah, there's enough of them around you that if you're in a sticky situation, you can get behind cover and you can usually spot one out around you and just like grapple it towards you, pop out and just toss it right into their face.
Yeah.
And there's a good like arc you can do with it. I have this one clip where I just like there's this guy on the roof and he's like a good distance away and I'm just like, I think I got you, and I toss it and I just nail him on the roof. I was like, yeah. I'm like, this is Halo, baby.
Yeah.
I wish the nighttime was darker.
Yeah.
Like, the night is not dark. I would love that if at night when we storm a base with like all my troops, that you actually have to use your flashlight and like there's more dynamic lighting. But I think these are also limitations of the Xbox One hardware. You know, having an open world like that with a engine, and like this engine, it is a modified version of the original, Halo engine, even though they called it the space engine.
Yeah.
But it's great looking. Master Chief looks good. Like his texture is so high quality. Like, are you playing it on your 4K TV?
I haven't even put it on that just yet, but even just playing it on my monitor, and I was streaming it for a little bit to my Surface Pro, and it just looks amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it looks so nice, and like I can't wait to hook it up to the big TV. I just haven't had time. As soon as I got on and had a chance to play it, I was like, no, I'm just playing it.
Yeah.
I don't even want to waste the time moving my Xbox.
But yeah, the extra year definitely did some wonders for their engine. I think all the engine really needs right now is more atmosphere. I feel like everything looks so good and crisp, but there's a lack of like atmosphere to the game.
Yeah.
Not enough dust effects, not enough dynamic lighting like everywhere. It'd be nice to see like fog effects coming in, different weather in the game. It just doesn't seem like it's pretty and fun and it's very Halo, but it doesn't seem like a next gen open world.
I think we'll see some of those effects show up when they end up separating it, like you're talking about, and end up making a Series X and S version.
Like, you remember Halo ODST? Nighttime in that game. That's what I was
crazy, yeah. That's the funny thing, too, is like you have a flashlight, and like the caves are dark and everything, too. Yeah. So like, why not make the nighttime darker? Because all of the aliens glow and everything, too. So it'd be cool to see that.
Yeah, and like I would love the ODST like at nighttime, outlines all the things so you can see at night, or have the sniper rifle like in Halo 1 where it had the night vision mode to it. It'd be so cool if night was more night in the game instead of it just being like another filter on your camera. Like, so it would
get spooky too.
Yeah, like I feel like I know they say they want to support this game for a long time. Like they said initially like 10 years. I do not think that's going to be the case. I think they're going to move away from this game a lot quicker than we think. I think they want to have a next-gen looking Halo game that actually like blows people's minds visually.
Yeah.
And really like they have such a good foundation. Like, what works. Halo as an open world game does work. So let's build, now that we know what our 343 Halo game is, let's build that now. Now that we've, essentially cobbled together this kind of skeleton version of our game, we know what that is. Let's kind of push that to another level. And all they really need to do is make a bigger, more dynamic open world Halo game with huge like changing events. Like the way the game is built in all those like hexagons are those should be like moving up and down, and we should see things in the background falling and like crazy stuff. But we're not going to see that in this iteration. So I don't think they'll stick to this as long as their ambitions. They might stick to supporting multiplayer for that long, but I think
that's where I'm kind of interested to see how they do the co-op, because they're releasing co-op after. Are they going to, like, are they guaranteed to do it like the campaign that we're playing right now with just like 4 people, or is it going to be like a Destiny style, like actual like big co-op or whatever?
Yeah, so I hope we hear something soon about what their ambitions are for this game, because, you know, maybe early next year we'll see, or maybe at E3 they show what their greater ambitions are for Halo Infinite is. But all in all, I'm really enjoying it so far. I like Halo in an open world aspect. I like taking in situations and different approaches and finding like different areas to go in, and just really doing it your way in the game, which is very interesting. Man, as you see those some parts, you can like smash through like fences and stuff. It was so cool. The game is really cinematic, and it just like that, you know, emergent gameplay. And, you know, this is also another notch on Microsoft's belt this year. Like, you can say it all started with Flight Simulator releasing early summer, and then we got into like Psychonauts, and then we get Forza Horizon 5, and we get Age of Empire 3, and we get Halo Infinite, and these are all like high Metacritic games. Like we're talking like high 80s, low 90s. Like, I think we are finally at the end from what we're going to discuss about another upcoming game. You know, this is, you know, we're in a golden age right now of Xbox, and we're getting it all on Game Pass, man. Like, like this is insane. So it's great to see. It is really, really nice to see. Makes that Xbox a little more worth it, right, Dan?
Oh, yeah. I definitely didn't mind investing in it now.
Yeah, for real, right?
That's for sure.
But, you know, we'll talk more about, we'll have, next week's episode will be a little bit more spoily on Halo, and we'll get Andrew's take on it too, so we won't get more into it. But all in all, enjoying it so far. But, you know, let's get into, you know, we were talking a little bit about the Oculus earlier, and let's kind of dive into this whole metaverse. Well, not really so much of it metaverse, but it kind of relates to it. But, it's finally happened. The first big name in video games has gone down the NFT blockchain route, and the company is Ubisoft. What are these called? QUARTZ?
Ubisoft QUARTZ.
QUARTZ, yeah. Ubisoft QUARTZ. So Ubisoft QUARTZ, it will offer a limited edition cosmetic item for Ubisoft games that can be resold on third-party marketplaces for cryptocurrency. So, you know, this is kind of the first of its kind in the sense of one of these, you know, video game companies offering, and I would imagine this is only for PC. I don't know how they would regulate something like this on console. The fact that you'd be able to sell it on third-party companies, it just shows that PC is truly the future of gaming.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's why we're seeing Xbox become more like a PC and everything. Like, they've got their own browser and everything. So it'd potentially even just connect through there the same way. I know...
it could be something through the browser base, and then it connects to your like Ubisoft account and stuff. But you can kind of remove it from there. It's because it's essentially you just owning the source code, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're owning like basically blockchain versions of like an image or whatever that you've coded in to be recognized that way. So it's like a security tag for it. So it's unique to it. You know that it can't be changed or altered or whatever. Otherwise, it's not the actual thing that you had. And you basically works like money. It's basically almost a physical object at that point because it's got its own unique identifier. Yeah.
Like a serial
And
number
it's just,
to it, pretty much.
yeah, the physical thing sitting on a hard drive, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I find interesting out of this is, so a lot of people are saying, it could be predatory and things can get very murky. But the one thing I actually really like out of this and I find interesting is being able to resell it. Like, I can buy one of these cosmetic items off, let's say, Ubisoft themselves. And then if it even holds any value, so if I get like one of 200 and in a couple of years it has actual value because this game is continuous to be iterated
actually
on, and I can actually sell it. I don't know, like they already do that on Steam, right? Through Steam Workshop, pretty much.
I mean, how different is it really from like going to GameStop or EB Games or whatever and selling your game and like, or buying a used game or whatever? It's basically just like you're doing digital assets instead. So when you buy that nice set of armor or whatever for your character that you like wearing and everything, eventually you can resell that. Is basically going to be the main idea, or like potentially like if you're really good at the game and you're wearing that armor all the time, the value of your armor might just go up too.
Like, but also I like the idea of a cosmetic I'm buying from a game, if not retaining value, gaining value, and me being able to be like an object in my house. If times were tough, we're selling the car or something, just like whatever. But having the ability to be like, you know what, I don't play this game anymore. I have all this DLC that I purchased that are NFTs. I know I'm not going to play this game anymore. I'm going to put all this stuff up on a marketplace and maybe get my money back or maybe get a little bit more back from it. And the idea of that sounds great, to be honest.
So and it's going to do wonders for artists and like creative jobs and everything as well. Like asset makers who are just like modders and everything now are going to be able to actually like sell their artwork and everything and have it be a unique like item that you can actually like transfer around and everything. It ends up like even YouTube creators and everything. Like a lot of them, because YouTube's been changing its policies and stuff, or Twitch or whatever have you, like it becomes harder and harder to make the actual money that you're looking to make and everything. And a lot of them supplement it through merchandise. Now they can have digital merchandise and everything too. And your favorite streamers wearing a certain set of armor and everything, you can resell that and make a buttload more money and everything.
Oh, man, I'm calling it right now. Grand Theft Auto 6 is completely I would be shocked if it is not designed completely around NFTs.
And being Grand Theft Auto, it would be amazing to see that you could like actually steal NFTs from other players in the game. Oh, man, depending on how that works, that's going to be weird if you do.
Imagine Grand Theft Auto 6, you can buy like actual real estate that you can sell to other players. Man, the potential money Grand Theft Auto 6 can make in like a metaverse, because Grand Theft Auto 5 online right now is essentially a little metaverse in itself. Like I said, I would be shocked if Grand Theft Auto 6 is not really looking at this and being like, yo, like, let's fucking do this. Let's make this a living, breathing world that has like like value to it.
Yeah.
That people can essentially figure out themselves.
And be a part of.
Yeah, like they can make their own economy out of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That sounds crazy.
It's a weird kind of surreal thought that happens with that, but it's really the way like our world is kind of turning towards. Like,
it's the future.
Yeah, it's there's easier ways to relax and do the things that you want to do, especially in the way that the economy's going and everything. It's difficult to actually maintain a lot of this stuff. You can't go really skiing and everything right now as much as you'd like
anywhere. Like if the world is going to keep on like if we're going to keep on going through like coronavirus and like what Ontario recorded its highest amount of cases since May. So, you know, I'm a fully vaccinated person, but what the fuck's going on, man? Like clearly shit's not working. So, and now we're getting triple vax. So, and I'm going to get my triple vax. Like I said, I'm okay with getting vaccinated, but like, fuck, man.
Exactly. Like if we're going to be stuck
inside the whole time, this is the world. So, you know, that was getting off topic, but if we're going to be like, the world is moving more digital, and if we're not going to be able to go many places, and the idea of having to, you know, restrict our travel and stay home, this is the whole reason we're seeing this whole thing speed up, is because the world went completely 180, and now we're a lot more isolated, but we don't really have to be, right? So that's why places like the Sandbox are like blowing up. That's why, you know, VR chat is huge. Man, if there's anything out there that can be the future, VR chat, get your shit together, make one of these worlds where you can buy real estate, NFTs, like get on that right now, because you guys already have it kind of like already. So
yeah, they've got the basis for it, and if they're the starters, like,
yeah,
it's going to be
exactly
an open market.
So, and like I said, Ontario just recorded its highest amount of cases since May, so things are not going to swing back to normal, it seems like, anytime soon. So the quicker this stuff can happen, we can get into our virtual like little space, and I can jack that, like what, in the Matrix, it was like a foot long like tube into the back of your head. Let's get
plug my brain in. Yeah,
exactly. So, but yeah, I and like I said, a lot of people, like, what do you think? Do you think it's a predatory thing, or do you like the idea that something like let's say you bought those grenade pineapple things, but there was only 100 of those grenade pineapple things? I'd be like, you know what? I might actually fucking buy those grenade pineapple things, because maybe in a year those grenade pineapple things might be worth $30 or something. Or
that's what I mean. It changes the way that you think about purchasing things too.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, well, I can get the suit of armor that absolutely anybody can get. It's like, it looks cool to me, but for how long when I see everybody else wearing it?
Do you think those outrageous prices on some of these items would justify some of the outrageous prices because it's actually a monetizable limited item that only 100 people have? Like,
I think we'll start to see more of that stuff created, because it'll be more of a want and more of a need, and the prices might actually even go down. Because when it's like, okay, I create this one asset and I can make 100 copies of it, and like that is the limit that we're making on it, and they each have their own unique identifier, so you know you have 1 of 100 or 99 of 100 or 68 of 100 or whatever, and that can actually affect the value of it and everything too, because like it or not, people are going to spend a little extra to get 69 of 100.
Yeah, right? But like, what if you like hop on and you're like, oh, I was thinking about that, and they're like, oh shit, there's only 4 left. Like, I have to buy this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it creates a demand and everything too. That's what I mean. Like the first 10 could sell for $5 a piece, and then by the time they see how quick those went, it could change. Like first 5 are $5 each.
Well, no,
next 10 are $10 each, and
it would stay $5, and then open up the marketplace, and you'll see people selling it for $10.
Yep.
And they will get maybe like a little portion of that.
$100 or whatever, yeah. You'll see a lot of trade arounds and everything happen all at once.
Yeah. So
it opens up a barter system and everything too. Like you get cool stuff cheap or whatever, you can start to trade that for other cool stuff that you like, that it's going to change the value of it and everything. And eventually you could just be working a job selling and marketing digital items.
Like it sounds crazy, but like it could get that way.
The best part, it's going to end up with you in a virtual world, like in VR or whatever, in a virtual store that you own, selling virtual wares.
Yeah, right?
You're gonna sit at your desk in the morning, pop on your hat, and you can work for the day in your virtual store without ever leaving your home.
Oh, isn't in that book, Ready Player One, and in the movie, the whole thing about the virtual world is the currency in that virtual world became more valuable than the currency outside of the virtual world. So
yeah, it became the actual currency.
Currency, yeah, right?
Yeah.
World is
let's just do it right, like
a crazy place.
Yeah. With pandemics and stuff like this and everything, like who knows? It might be worth it to look into these sorts of things. And
oh yeah, well, it brings the idea of, you know, and this is a lot of things I hear in my work is, and just in the gaming industry in general, is this whole pandemic being apart and working from home has kind of stifled creativity, and you're not having those like one-to-one, you know, person coming up and looking at what you're doing. Oh, that's cool. Check out what I'm doing. Oh, let's have like a chat and more organic space, where like in a virtual world, you could make your office in a virtual space and people could just walk around the office, and it can bring that back to the work environment. Because
the pictures and stuff you like.
I don't want to go back to the office though. Like if they gave me the choice of like, oh, we can be more creative in the office if we all worked in the office, or you can work from home, I'd be like, I'm going to work from home. Like everyone's going to pick that. So like if they can mesh that into the work from home, that'd be nice. Because working from home is so. But you know, I can talk. I could talk. I could actually have a whole podcast on VR. So maybe we'll have to rename it the Xbox and
VR podcast.
Yeah.
Well, we'll start doing that as soon as Xbox releases VR. I'm sure it's not that far off, as no matter what they say.
Yeah, the console's like powerful enough to do it. So like clearly more powerful enough. But like I said, you know, I'd love to see Xbox come in and be a competitor in that space, but it sounds like we're getting another competitor in a different space, the video game subscription space. So PlayStation has finally, well, they haven't officially announced it, but it's been leaked by Jason Schreier from Bloomberg. PlayStation Game Pass competitor has officially been leaked, called Project Spartacus, and it will be a 3-tier system. So it sounds like the first tier is just going to be the PlayStation Plus like it is now, and next tier after that will be a merger of PlayStation Plus and Now together. But the third tier is going to bring in more streaming, so possibly, I don't know, like Crunchyroll or something like that, and old games like PlayStation, PlayStation 2, PlayStation Plus, PS3. So it looks like it will unlock that library there, but they still said they are not going to do date releases on it. But, you know, no one thought PlayStation was going to release games on PC. But, you know, they released Horizon Zero Dawn, and they're just like, oh, wait, we made a lot of money off that? Okay, let's do that again. So never say never, in my opinion. Okay. But I don't know.
I feel like the leak is a little too on the nose.
Yeah.
Coming out right with like Halo and everything, just like and the ironically named just Spartacus. It's like, okay, so you're taking Game Pass. You're just gonna call it Spartacus, and there's magically a leak on the day that Halo's coming out.
So. But I don't know. I think the whole like nostalgia play is good and all, but like if this is what they are going to be offering, this doesn't entice me at all to buy a PlayStation 5 whatsoever.
No, that's just it. Like I saw this coming because they have to have something to compete with Game Pass. They're seeing what Game Pass can do and how many people it's drawing and everything. They knew they had to come up with something. And yeah, the nostalgia, like the older games and everything, like those are nice and all, but like Microsoft went and tried that before. They had the Xbox Arcade and everything, and they realized that wasn't something that worked super well.
Look at the first couple of years of Game Pass, right? Itself. Like when Game Pass was launched, it was older games, indie games, and a little bit into its life cycle. Then they announced that their first party games, like, the next Gears and Forzas and all that, be coming out on that service day and date. And that was the game changer. And then this year was also the big game changer where we're like, oh, we're going to get huge third-party games like Outriders, MLB The Show on day one, Back for Blood, stuff like that. So we're getting like heavy hitters like on day one of release, and indie games, like a plethora of indie games, The Ascent, all these great titles day one.
Yeah.
Like
now it's just like, why wouldn't I? Yeah.
Yeah. Like where like, yeah, I can like play these older games and it's going to be cool, but I don't see from this leak, from what I've seen is, oh, this will be maybe a great service if you come into it like 5 years down the road or something where, and like they even put God of War onto PlayStation Now, but they removed it. Like what? Like how did you remove your first party game off your like streaming service? Like why did you do that? That makes no sense whatsoever. So PlayStation does some weird decisions, and if they can't get at least some games day and date, they have no chance. Plus, PC. Game Pass is on PC.
Yeah.
And it's streaming on cloud. With my Wi-Fi 6 router, playing on my phone's been fantastic. Like, I just don't see this competing at all.
Yeah, that's just it. Like, it's a good try, and I mean, like, who knows what they actually come out with? Who knows how good it'll be? Hopefully, they can figure something out to really put in some competition and everything. Because I mean, competition always works out better for the consumer most of the time.
Oh yeah, competition's king.
So always, most of the time, but
yeah, I say that all the time. It's like Josh said, competition's king. It's like he says that a lot. But if they don't have day and date, like, is it even a competition?
Yeah, that's just it, right? First party games like this, like Halo, like I have no problem paying for Game Pass. Like, I have no problem arguing that to my wife. Like,
well, and plus you say it to your wife. It's like, look, it's like, when's the last time I spent $80? Like, if I came up to you and said, hey, I want to buy Halo for almost $100, she'd be like, no.
Like, and be like, you can save up and buy that in a few months. Like,
no, like it's $100. But like, I'm just putting out $20 a month. Just a little bit more than my Netflix subscription, but I feel like I get way more out of Game Pass than Netflix.
I'm basically paying for one special edition game a year.
Yeah. Essentially,
and like, I got no problem.
And I'm okay with doing that. And especially if they're like, hey, do you want to pay for that one special edition game over the course of the year where it's only like $20 a month? I'd be like, oh, even better.
Yeah. Right?
So, but, they make really good first-party games, some of the highest quality, and those games need to stay on their service to compete, and they need to, if they are not going to drop on the smaller tiers, that high tier, they need to be like, look, the high tier, day and date on this service.
Yeah, anything made by Sony. Like, Microsoft's already thrown down the gauntlet like that. Like, they're just like, Microsoft games, Bethesda games, it's all coming to Game Pass and stuff.
And people like argue the quality of the two companies, but I would say, you know, from the year we've seen this year of the high Metacritic and the variety, not just like third-person open world games, like we're talking about RTSs, a flight simulator, one of the best arcade open world racing games of, if not all time, and taking a first-person shooter genre, that a game that is mostly a linear experience to an open world setting. They've shown, and making a platformer that is mature and for adults and actually has a really deep and heavy story to it. I think they've proven themselves this year, and they're going to prove themselves next year. And we're going to get into this right now. I think they just they just showed that they are a graphical powerhouse, that they are going to have their God of War moment, and that is with Hellblade Senua's Saga, which they showed tonight at the Game Awards. So, you know, they might have shown a bunch of other things at the Game Awards. We're going to get more into that next week with Andrew. But we cannot go this week without talking about this.
I cannot believe that. It looks so amazing.
Even Jeff Keighley was like, I could not believe this was gameplay they were showing me, and this is gameplay.
Yeah. The only thing that gave me any hint that it was gameplay was he was aiming the spear when he was throwing it. And like it was just enough to be like, okay, that's actual gameplay.
And they're doing the whole one shot thing in the game, and it looks incredible. I've never seen a video game look so graphically incredible. And I think this is where we are going to have the edge next year, because compared to, let's say, what PlayStation is offering, so they do have God of War, and God of War is going to be amazing. Horizon's going to be amazing. Gran Turismo is always a really good racing game. But these are all also on last gen. And next year we're getting Starfield next gen only, Redfall next gen only. And did they say at the end of the Hellblade, was that next year? Or maybe 2023? But still, a next gen only game.
Yeah.
Right?
I was focused so much on the gameplay, I was just like, what the hell?
Like, I couldn't believe how amazing this looked, Dan. Like, you saw it. And I just watched the 4K drop of the trailer on YouTube. Like, she looks incredible. The lighting, the rain. See, this is what I was talking about. Atmosphere. Like, and they're...
I was just watching with, like, just the lit spears and everything, like, going through this super dark cave and just
like,
having, like, a little bit of moonlight outside, Yeah,
and they're... like, and you can hear like the voices in her head, like in the first game, and she like, they're following a fucking giant, and it looks crazy. And he comes in like crawling out of the water, and like the game is just like flexing, man. Like this game is flexing hard. They're like, yo, you want to see fucking atmosphere? We got a rainy, foggy looking day. You want to see cool lighting? We got wicked looking torches. We got a giant crawling out of an ocean. Like this looked nuts. And then when he was
the water pouring off him, and
and when he was lying on the wall, it looked like he was starting to like turn to stone and stuff. And like you could hear it in the trailer, but like it's gonna happen. Like it's starting. Like they know he's like falling asleep and like becoming one with the earth or something. And then they throw oil on him, and then his arm just like stretches out, and it just looks wicked. And then they set him on fire, and then he jumps up and like collapses. Everything like
the fire on his back, and he's crawling towards you,
and like everything goes to like all dusty, and you see that one guy run out on fire, and then the one person gets smushed by his hand. And then they draw him out. Like, holy crap. Like, I've never seen anything like this. Like,
just crazy.
this is next gen. We finally saw next gen tonight.
Yeah.
I feel like we actually saw a leap in fidelity,
at least a glimpse
for the first time. Yeah, at least like we saw into this future they're talking about, and that was it right there. And I feel like the fact that this trailer ends with coming to Game Pass, like, oh man, like
I can't wait. My computer's gonna explode. Just trying to play that.
Oh, at least you got the Xbox. Like, you can bring your wife and be like, look at this. Like, can you believe? Like, I went from playing, Super Nintendo as a kid to like, look at this. It is insane. They should feel super proud of themselves tonight. Congratulations to Ninja Theory. You guys have finally have a company that supports you and is allowing you to express the vision with a budget that can express that vision.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
that was just it. How they made the last, like how they made Senua's Saga in the first place without the resources that they have now, like, is just insane. And they've proven themselves time and time again. So seeing them being able to flex and everything is just awesome.
Yeah, they've always made great games, like from what's that game where you play like the monkey, the human? It's like the story of Journey to the West. Enslaved. Enslaved, that's what it was called. That's a great game. I love their Devil May Cry DMC game. That game was amazing. And and the first Hellblade game. But all those games, it just showed that, man, if they had just a little bit more of a budget, if they just had a little bit more of a budget, or a lot more of a budget, which we're seeing now, they can do some crazy stuff. And I bet Phil and the team at Ninja Theory were just like sitting there and just been like, yeah, look at this. You thought Microsoft doesn't have a studio that can produce like a game at a quality of, like, let's say The Last of Us.
Yeah.
We're going to show you. Oh yeah. And I can't wait. I can't wait. I feel like I saw what their vision of this console is for the first time tonight, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Definitely got to get a better TV.
Yeah,
get me a nice monitor, some nice curved like 4K, and hook it up to this Xbox, and I'll be flying.
Man, there's not a lot of times where I'm like kind of speechless from a game, but that and like awesome. WooCon earlier this year, like those.
That looked amazing too. Yeah.
Also, there's a Crimson Desert, like WooCon, Crimson Desert, and now this. Those are next gen looking games. Oh yeah. Can't wait to get my hands on it.
Can't wait to see the rest of these Game Awards and everything too. So
yeah, well, yeah, watch. Yeah, we're gonna end this and go back on YouTube and be like, oh, what? Alan Wake 2, open world Sonic game, which that is all something they did announce. So we'll talk about that.
We'll get into that. It's gonna be crazy.
I didn't have my water with me, so my throat is absolutely on fire, so I think we're going to end it from here. But everyone go check out the Hellblade trailer. Thank you again so much for listening. Dan, like always, send us home, you lovely boy.
Don't you guys forget to hit that subscribe button on our YouTube page. Hit that like button. Feel free to leave a comment down below. You can find us on audio only on Spotify, Google Podcast. Just look for Xbox North Podcast. We're also on Reddit and Instagram. Look up Xbox North Podcast. And for Twitter, @NorthXbox.
Ooh. Isn't that right? Well, Dan, like always, it's been a pleasure. You have a lovely night, and good night.
Stay up late playing Halo.
Oh yeah, let's do this. Goodbye.
Bye.